Tobi Keys Production.
Tobi Keys Production.
Tobi Keys Production.
Tobi Keys Production.
God bless you, and thank you for joining us here in Extraordinary People broadcast on the Heart Ministry Radio Network. I am your host, Brenda Divers, and today, as you can see, I have two fabulous people with me today. And I have Tobi and Nikki Adegoke. Great job. Adegoke. Beautiful, beautiful name, beautiful, beautiful couple. And we're just going to spend some time with them today. Powerful, powerful, anointed couple. And we love to see couples walking out their purpose together. Amen. And before we go further, we talked about what's in a name. So we have Nikki and we have Tobi. So, Nikki, if you would tell us what your name means.
Well, my name means Nikki. It's to be cherished. It's a name from West Africa, Nigeria, West Africa. It means to be cherished, and I think everything about being a child of God means we're cherished. Yeah. I mean, what more love can anybody show us than to give His life, to lay it down for us, you know? And I have seen God do that in my life. He gave me a father who did the same to me. And beyond that, gave me a husband who is, spending the rest of our lives together, showing me that love the way Christ loved the church. So, yes, I spend every day knowing I'm cherished and loved, and that's what He has done for us all.
Praise the Lord. Cherished and loved. Amen. Amen. And Tobi, what is your name?
Yeah, my name actually is supposed to be Tobi. That means God is great. And, the Bible says greater as He is in me that He is in the world. So, and that, impacts me because I am built to do great things.
Yes.
Period.
End of story.
Yeah.
Built to do great things.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. So as we name our children, right, there should be names of purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to my favorite question is, what was your conversion experience and how you received the Lord? Can you share that? And then can you start?
Okay. For me, it was quite an interesting one. I was about 7 years old. Okay. And some of my friends in school actually had their family went to church and got born again, the whole family.
Wow.
And they taught them that you have to go and preach the word of Christ to everybody. So they came to school the next day, took all of us together under the mango tree back in Africa.
Oh, nice.
And she said, you all have to receive Jesus because He died for you. And I was like, really? Tell me more. Because my parents were not born again as a then,
Okay.
So I was like, fine.
Wow.
They taught us about it, and right there under the mango tree in school, I gave my life to Christ. We knelt down and we prayed together. So I went back home, I told my parents about it, and my mom gave her life to Christ after that. And I think about a few years later, my daddy followed. Yes.
And that's how we should teach. Soon as you know Christ, you go out and tell somebody else. And I love that angle under the mango tree.
It was.
How about that?
So clearly, yeah. We were under the tree. I was in elementary school, probably primary 2, I was 7. And we just did that right there under the tree, and we began to preach to other children in school. And then my parents became born again.
How picturesque.
Yes.
Did you see that? Wonderful. How about you, Tobi?
Mine is a little different. I'm a PK.
Okay.
And, my dad was a bishop. And so you can imagine we were born into, that environment. We're taught, even though we didn't know everything, but we're just taught on that atmosphere. And when we're under such pressure of the pastor's kid, but until I had the experience, my dad has preached many sermons before, but there was this Sunday, that he preached, and and I know what happened. I got up, went to the stage when they were calling for, made an altar call, and I gave my life to Christ, and I had an experience with God since then,
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. PKs.
Yeah.
The pressure.
The pressure.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, the pressure.
I know.
Amen. But again, the blessing is that you're born into purpose, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you see it every day.
Yeah.
As a child.
Yeah. Most of us, we were actually, my dad had us, they prayed over us, and they they put a mantle on us, and you know, as many of the kids that were out there, everybody's out there doing stuff for God,
Yes,
because
they
they're already
all are.
dedicated to God's
Praise the Lord.
purpose.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, shout out to Chanel Walker Bailey.
Hey, Chanel.
Yes, Bulletproof. You know, she said you have got to speak to Tobi, and she talks about, you know, just your ministry at church, you and McKay, and she said you've got to get in there. So of course we had to follow that lead, and you sent us a number of your YouTube links, and we're going to, you know, send you to those links. They are doing wonderful things in the kingdom. You know, I saw just a spirit of praise and worship, and they also have a segment about praise and worship and what that means. I think it was really beautifully done. Yeah. You know, what praise is and what worship is, and are we indeed doing that when we call ourselves in praise and worship? Yeah. So I think that was and very simplistic in that, you know, you kind of came away, okay, I can understand that. That makes, you know, that makes sense to me. So that was an anointed thing. You know, when you can look at something and get it, you know, and kind of carry it with you, certainly, and it was done beautifully. So thank you for that. So we have Tobi Key Production, and the keys, I'm sorry, it's K-E-Z-S.
K-E-Y-Z-S.
K-E-Z. You know, so it's not an S, so it's a Z. And I think that's very nice. So you guys are very creative. It's absolutely clear that you're creative, just in your name and how you do that. So Tobi Key's Production, how did that come to be? What did God say or do to make all of it? What did he breathe? Because that's something he breathed.
You know, Tobi Key's Productions actually did exist back in West Africa in a small scale, but you know, coming down to the United States, and you know, to Chicago at that point in time, and even down here, I think because I studied music technology, you know, and audio engineering, and we were involved in the ministry and doing a whole lot of, you know, choir stuff, you know, worship leaders, and, you know, training worship leaders and all that. And coming into Delaware, I heard God speak to me, and he said, Tobi, it's time to go into music production. Wow. And that's my calling. That's what I studied, you know. And I said, okay. I told my wife. I remember. I said that God told me that it's time to go into music production. And so we wanted to start. We started up. We registered. We were about to register a company. And God told me, you're not registered just in music production. You're registering a record label company. I'm like, what? You know, that is big. And that's something about God.
Yes, it's always bigger than what we envisioned.
Remember the name? Tobi?
Yeah. It's great.
God is great.
Yeah.
You know, and we honestly, I freaked out. I'm like, we both freaked out. That's just the truth. You were like, you know, but you know, we went ahead in faith. So like, we heard God, yes, and so we went ahead and registered, and you know, what we saw after that was mind-blowing, because God began to raise up worship leaders that did not know they were going to climb to any height, you know, and God began to challenge them through us to really say, I see you beyond this, you know, and say, do you have something out there? And God was able to use us to be able to be a blessing to them, and we, you know, and what God is doing right now through Tobi Key's production, we are amazed.
We are amazed, yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And I get that.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that it's always bigger than what we can imagine.
Absolutely.
Because we have to depend on Him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to put my hands on things, and it's like, no, it's too big. It's too big. You know.
Yeah.
But we have to certainly just say, okay, God, do what you do, and
That's
just
right.
being obedient in that process.
Yeah.
So in that, okay, so we have a dynamic duo. Absolutely. So, McKay, tell me, who is McKay, the woman, in this whole thing?
So, I am, first of all, I'm actually trained as a pharmacist. I am a pharmacist. I work here in Delaware. However, right from day one, since Tobi and I met, it's been very interesting because I've always been in the music ministry all my life. So I think I met Tobi, I think a year after my daddy went home to be with the Lord, and I was on a little bit of a break from the music ministry, the worship ministry during that period. But as we got into marriage, yeah, we began to work together. I remember we literally started out going to train choirs in Europe, in a couple of countries, and do some choir trainings and all that. But through it all, one of the things I've come to understand is that I have to fulfill my goals so I can be the best I can be for him. When the Bible says the woman is a helpmeet for the man, a lot of people just say help meet, but remember she's a help that is meet for him, that is suitable for him. You know, so that means I have to be my best. I have to be the best that I was made to be. I love to write, I love to sing, I love to do all of these things. I have to do them to the best of me. And I discovered in that process, he was actually training me to be a blessing to him and to bring out the best that he put into Tobi. So I'm really excited at what God is doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's teamwork.
Yeah.
And I love how you said that. And no one could get out of that you had to acquiesce as a woman. You know, you had to build yourself up in your most holy faith in order to be suitable, right, to support that. So I love that. There's power, you know. There's power in being a woman of God. That these are, you know, that military term. Just to see it walk out so beautifully. You know, you don't have to be hard. You don't, you know, that sweetness is the thing that kind of supports it.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
I praise God, and that comes through, it permeates through you. Praise the Lord. So who is Tobi the man?
Oh boy. Tobi is, I think, somebody that God has ordained, you know, and I believe that, just like you heard, you know, I'm a PK, and I'm growing up from that environment, you know, and you know, studying what I studied. In fact, actually, just like she's a pharmacist, I studied accounting. And my dad wanted me to study accounting. Yeah, and I was like, okay, you know. So even back in school, we would still organize concerts and, you know, musical events, and people would look at me and was like, are you supposed to be here, you know? And, you know, eventually, you know, I finished school, went out of town and started working, but I was not being fulfilled. Yeah. And I remember that day, you know, we were having a choir rehearsal in church on Sunday, and I was working, you know, the county were doing stock taking at work. And that was the day I looked at myself, I said, no way, I can't do this anymore. And I did not even clock out. I walked out.
Really?
Hold on, he never told me that. You were married 7 years?
Yeah, I clocked out.
You walked out?
I did not even, I just walked out, and I was like, no way, you know, and that was it. And I, you know, started serving in church, you know, back then. Wow. As a music director, and so somebody met me and said, you know, have you heard of this, going to school for this? I said, okay, fine. I mean, I need to sharpen my gifts. You know, so I had to, and that's why I went to South Africa, Cape Town, and studied music technology, and, you know, came back, got married to my wife, and boom, that ministry just took off on another dimension. You know.
Wonderful. I love the stories. I love the story, because you just don't appear on the earth. You know, there's a journey that happens. You had a journey together to meet, and then a journey together. And you met in which country?
Oh, we met in
Nigeria.
This was really.
It was amazing.
This is. You want to tell it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
We met in the year 2009. Yeah. However, the person who introduced us had been trying to introduce us for 9 years.
Really?
She had been trying to get us together since the year 2000, and it just never happened because God was not ready. You know, the Bible says.
9 years.
Oh yeah. In Psalm 139, the Bible says that all the days of my life you've written in your book, even before I was born. Yeah. You know, I think God knew that anything before then was not going to work out.
Absolutely.
You know, at that point, Tobi was just about to leave for South Africa, and I was just ready to start working. In fact, the day we met was the day I got a job with Pfizer.
That's right. Yeah.
Back in Africa.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, good, I'm a pharmacist, I'm getting into the corporate world, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But God started something there, and here we are today.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
When you think of what God did, you know, nothing that happened was an accident.
Nothing.
It had already been written.
Yep.
We just had to play it
That's
out.
right.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. He took you from South Africa
Mm-hmm.
to Ohio or
Back to-
Chicago?
back-
Chicago.
Yeah.
So back to
But
Nigeria,
then
and then
to Chicago.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a journey.
What a journey.
What a journey. Now, you're in Chicago, and are you married at this time in Chicago?
Yeah. We were
Yeah.
married before we left Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're in Chicago, and then he speaks to you about coming to Delaware.
You know, the thing about it was that for every move that we had made, had been with the voice of God. Because
Yes.
even leaving Lagos and coming to Chicago was the voice of God. I mean, because we were not going to move an inch until we heard God.
Yes.
And so
Praise
we
the
went on prayer. We fasted for
Yeah, we
about
were
a month.
fasting for over a month.
Over a
actually.
month, and you know, we were gonna pretty much say, God, if you don't speak, we're gonna die on you, because
Yeah.
you know, because I
We're
mean,
waiting on you.
yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
and God spoke, and that was how we took that word and we left.
And when God is speaking, you cannot miss it.
Yeah.
It is so clear. Like everything around you is saying it. The birds singing are telling you,
Yeah,
this is
now,
what he's saying. You know, you're walking on the road, you just
You're
hear
hearing
something
it.
passing,
Yeah.
but it is confirming what he's
Yes, I
saying
love
to
that.
you.
Yeah.
I
It
love
was
that.
crazy. Everything around us was just saying it.
Yeah, and going back to, and so we in Chicago, and God speaks to us and says, like, it's time, you know, and you know, we did not know anybody in Delaware. No, but God said, it's time, and you're gonna get a call, this was gonna happen, and blah blah blah, and it happened, you know. And so for every step that we've taken, it has been God's voice. I tell my wife every time, I say, we're on assignment.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are on an assignment, and coming here and meeting the people that we met, we knew that we were on assignment.
Praise the
Yeah.
Lord. Praise the Lord. And again, he allowed you to do it together. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm always appreciative of a journey with my husband. You know, there's
Yeah.
some journeys we have to go on by ourselves, absolutely.
Yeah.
But when you can do it together, you know, with a like-minded person,
Yeah.
someone who's hearing God and you're hearing it together.
Yeah.
What a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a beautiful
That's
experience.
amazing.
So you were at Victory Christian Center,
Christian Fellowship.
Christian
Yeah.
Fellowship
Yeah.
in Newcastle,
Yeah.
Delaware.
Yes.
And what positions do you hold there in music?
My wife is a worship leader. And there, I'm the music director there as well. And we've also raised up a whole lot of worship leaders in there, and people that thought, you know, that they couldn't lead, we were able to train
Yeah.
and develop people to be able to stand and lead worship on different levels.
Yes.
Wow.
As well. We also do seminars and stuff, you know. So yeah, to God be the glory.
To God be the glory.
Yeah.
I love that stand
Yeah.
and lead.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
To stand and lead.
Yeah.
You know, because you do have to stand in your faith.
Yes.
You know, and be undergirded by, you know, the spirit, the wings.
That's right.
And he sent you there to stir up the gifts.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
right.
word.
You know, we're talking, and
That's the
we
word,
said
yeah.
that, you know, as soon as we got into Delaware, we sat down. The first rehearsal we came because we were still asking God, what are we still doing here?
Yeah.
You know, because people were like, "You're going to Delaware?" You know,
Yeah.
you know, and so
Where is that?
yeah, and so we got in. As soon as we got in the rehearsal, God just opened my eyes and just saw different gifts and talents, but they were not being harnessed.
Yeah, they were just lying dormant, just waiting, like,
You know,
waiting for what God was doing.
And God said, "This is it. That's what you're here
Yeah.
for."
And it's
Wow.
always exciting to us every Sunday whenever, you know, we see the choir minister. It's such a family of joyful worshipers. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're just glad to see the people worship.
Praise
Yeah.
the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Just to know that God said, this is your assignment.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah.
in the earth, this is what I want you to do for me.
That's right.
In the earth. And I think that for me is such a privilege that he
Mhm.
chooses us to do those things.
It is.
You know, we all have an assignment.
Yeah.
And
it
we
is.
have to do it to the best. Like you said, show up
That's
show up
right.
every day.
Yeah.
Your best, because we're representing God,
That's right.
you know, to the world. So Tobi Keys Productions, you know, it's not just now this is a record label also, right?
Yes, it is.
And you have seen people who didn't even consider themselves as recording artists, right? Tell us
That's
a little
right.
bit about
You wanna-
that.
you wanna
Yeah, it was quite interesting because when we were getting ready to start, you know, we spoke to one or two people who we thought, well, maybe you might be interested in recording. We're getting into music production, and from there, you know, working together as a record label to help you bring your music out to the world. And of course, you market best what you believe in, and you have to believe in what you do. Yeah, so we had that conversation with one or two people, and as soon as the company was registered, we were flooded with people who were more than ready, you know, calls from everywhere.
We got mails on Facebook. We had like over 100 and something
requests to, you know, work with us and all that. It's been amazing.
People were just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, but you know, the aspect of Tobi Keys production, there are two aspects. There's a music production, you know, record label, so there's a ministry side of it as well. The ministry side of it is, you know, which evolved to a group what we call EMP, that's Edified, Magnified, Praise. And what we do is we host conferences, and you know, where we teach about worship. You know, it's pretty much like a school of worship where we teach about worship. You'd be amazed that a lot of people don't know what the difference between praise and worship is, what the difference between practice and rehearsal is. Just a few things that, you know, kind of brings up
fundamental things. Yes,
you know, and it's important. And we've been mandated to be able to go into churches that really don't know about these things, and you know, be a blessing to worship leaders. We believe that we're sent to worship leaders, aspiring worship leaders, music directors, musicians, to be able to kind of give them a picture of, you know, worship is the heart of God. And if you're worshiping,
I love that.
Yeah, it is the heart of God, and you will worship. You got to worship right. You know, if you're worshiping, you want to worship. You won't start saying something different to what you really mean. You know, you got to express. If you love somebody, like, Lord, I love you, not Lord, I want this. Those are two different things. You know, or Lord, fill me up. You know, two different things. And so we have this, you know, mandate to be able to, you know, go in and you know, educate the people.
Raise worshipers and worship leaders.
That is, and it's so important. You know, you could be doing something and it's not touching God's heart. It's not pressing into His heart. Because it's not done properly. And you don't even know it.
You don't even know.
Because sometimes you feel like this is what you're doing, but you're not.
A lot of times music can move the emotions, but you want to get to the heart of God. You don't want to only stir the waters of the emotions of the people. You want to get to the heart of true worship. And that's what we work with as EMP. So when EMP comes into a church, what we do is usually a whole day's program whereby in the morning we have the conference where we train on praise and worship, and then in the evening we actually have the worship experience where we have the concert and actually worship.
So at the end of the day, we deposit something there so that the worship will not be the same. Absolutely not.
Oh, I love that. They can start working it.
Exactly.
You know, because it's something we have to grow into.
That's
we have to really even, you know, what is the atmosphere?
That's right.
You know, so I love that. I love that. So how do we get in touch with Tobi Keys Production?
Oh, well, this is pretty much easy. Just go to www.tobikeys.com. Email will be info@tobikeys.com.
Yeah, and Tobi Keys is spelled Tobi.
It's a nice one.
Yeah.
KEYZ production.
Tobikeys.com.
Yeah.
And certainly go to your YouTube channel, Tobi Keys Production.
That's right.
Yeah, there are a lot of great things on there. Again, we kind of spent some time. My intern and I just kind of looking through it. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. You know, and
awesome.
Because it's important again that we get a feel of who's coming. And certainly that our spirits are agreeing.
That's right.
You know, with this, and we certainly say go forth. In Jesus' name, we speak life and we speak peace, and you know all of this over you.
Amen.
Because this is a God thing. There's some good ideas out there. But these are God ideas. And they must go forth. And they will.
Amen.
Right?
Yes,
as it is in heaven. It's already, you know, but when we're working and walking in God's will, we know it's going to happen. You know, so it really kind of takes the pressure off. You know, if we're walking in His will, it's going to happen.
That's right.
You know, so it's again for me to see couples, you know, working it together. You know, because we know that our marriages are in trouble, and particularly in the Christian families, marriages are in trouble. And when we see couples who are working it together, you know, working it together. That's
Yes.
important,
Oh,
you
yes.
know, and that's something that you show the world that it can be done.
Yes, yeah.
You know, day by day, moment by moment, it can be done. And this is
Yeah.
what it looks like. I love
Oh,
that. You're
good
smiling
job,
and,
good
and they're
job.
happy, you know. And I love, Tobi, when we talked on the phone, you said, well, you know, I have to bring my wife, okay? You know, because how you kind of support each other.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just one entity. You are, you know, an organism that's
Yeah.
breathing and working, and you know, we have our, I don't have my pom poms today. But you know, moving around, yeah, you know, absolutely, because we are encouraging that, and it's just good to see that, because again, you are out there for the world to see, and we have to make our Father look good.
Yeah.
Right, show the world what He
That's
looks
it.
like,
Yes.
and as you are doing that, you're walking in love.
Yeah.
So praise God.
Praise God. Praise God.
So what's coming up for you?
Well, first thing I'll mention is that in about a month from now, by the 23rd of May, the first artist from Tobi Keys Productions is releasing
It's Christina.
her music.
Yeah.
Christina Lockett. She has a song called "I Will Declare Your Name."
Yeah.
It is a beautiful song.
Wow.
This is a young lady who loves the Lord, who loves to worship. She's a worship leader, and this music will take you into His presence, and it will tell you that as you declare His name, chains are broken.
Yeah.
It's an amazing song.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 23rd of May, that is coming.
That's
out.
exciting,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. So now, if a person is aspiring, you know, to have a project and that kind of thing, what do you look for when you accept clientele? Because sometimes people aren't ready, you know, to go into the studio or kind of release some of that so you can edit and critique. You know, what are you looking for as far as artists, or what should they expect when they come?
The thing about this is the first thing when we get a clearance in our spirit.
You already get that.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
Praise
we
the
get a
Lord.
clearance in our spirit. But there are people that we said no. You know, they just said, you know, we had to pray about it, and we just said yes, and we both agree. You know, at the same time, and say, yeah, we're going forward with this person. And there's also the lyrics the person said. I mean, what are you thinking about? What do you actually want to show to the world out there? What is God giving you? What's that message? Because the only difference between most of the worship leaders and the pastors is because the worship leaders put their messages in songs. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
that's very, I love that.
so the lyrics are really important to us, and so when they come in, it's like, what are you saying? Okay, you're saying, I will declare your name in all the earth. Okay, so what do you want to happen? You know, to what to happen when people are listening to the song? When you declare, that means sickness is being healed, stuff and chains are being broken, and you know, so that will depict in your ad libs. Like when the lady was singing, the Christina was singing, and she was like, God is greater than HIV, than diabetes and stuff, and she was declaring right there on that. I believe that a lot of people are going to be healed, even right listening wherever they are, you know, and that is really important to us. And the music side, really, because most people feel like they have to have all the music in check, but no, that's our job.
Yes.
You know, to actually do the music production in there. And so when they, you know, when they send the songs, those are the things we kind of look out for. And we get the clearance, we make sure the lyrics are great, we make sure there are a whole lot of things that are put into check. That's a whole lot of things, you know, really.
But
those are
you
basic.
have a checklist and things.
Yeah.
And I love that. And those people, again, there's a fear, big fear factor.
Yes. Yep.
You know, of the work, of the rejection sometimes. You know, but I know, what I know is that you're covering them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, yeah.
So that fear, that you're speaking against that.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah, a lot of people actually, a couple of people who worked with us this time are actually people who were never recorded before. And some of them even said they've never sang before. There was one particular young lady.
Wow.
Her name is Anu. She's part of the music duo, a husband and wife,
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah.
David and Anu Chalapa. She's never actually sang on, you know, any record before, but with all the coaching and work done, their music is great, and it's going to be coming out soon. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have to feel that you're perfect, you got a perfect song. Come as you are with what the Lord has put in your heart. That is also the keys is really looking for.
Yeah.
God will give the increase.
He will.
Yes, I love that. See, this combination.
Couldn't agree more. She just said it out.
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, if there's a song in your heart, if you know God is saying some things to you, just reach out to Tobi Keys Production. And I know you have a consultation and all that. You have to work through all of that. Yeah. So, perfect love cast out fear. Yes. Just remember that, and you're coming to a loving and caring place where your gifts are safe. That's important too.
Yeah.
That, what God gave you is in a safe place. So that's our time. I have loved spending time with you guys. I hope this will not be our last encounter. Certainly as people come, we always have people coming in, and I have the song. I have, so we're gonna slide them over to,
bring them over.
Bring it on. Tobi Keys Production. And we speak peace over you.
Yeah, amen.
And love, and certainly that you will flourish together and flourish in ministry, because again, it's His will, right?
Yes,
if you're walking in His will, it will be done. Amen. So before we leave, there is a word of encouragement.
Yeah.
There is a word of encouragement. And Nikki, if you would start, there is something for the women of God, for the women of this world. What would you say to them today?
Well, I think the first thing I'll just say is this. Probably because my name is Nikki, I believe so much in receiving the love that has been given to me by God. And I just want to say to you today that you are loved and you're cherished. You don't need any, you don't need to get your, you don't need anybody else to confirm that to you except God. Thank you, that's the word. You don't need that validation from anybody else. You don't need it from things like just earthly things, don't worry about your looks too much. Don't worry too much about things that are just not as important as just knowing you are loved, because that is what gives you that confidence. That's what keeps you calm in the midst of the storm. Receiving the love that He puts on you. You are literally the last born of creation. Your Father loves you. Receive that love and walk in it, and feel confident enough to fulfill the purpose that He's placed in you. Before you can be a blessing to a man, to your husband, receive what your Father gives you first. Only then can you be your best as a wife, a career woman, a mother, whatever else you're going to do. That is the foundation of it all.
That's awesome.
Well said. Well said. Tobi, I know you're trying to hold it together.
I want to talk to to worship leaders, music directors, gospel artists, and the likes that, you try stuff and that things are really not working out at this time, and you feel frustrated, you feel like, you're in a place where it's just quiet, nothing is happening to you. I mean, you try to do stuff, it just did not work. I just want to tell you to ask you, what did you hear from God? And God said to the Son of Man, what do you see? And there's something about vision. If it comes from God, then it's gonna keep you. And you're like, did you hear from God? We heard from God. That settles it. And so with that vision, you want to say, I heard from God, and I'm going to keep moving until I see that vision being fulfilled. I would say, see a man diligent in his work. See a man diligent. What are you seeing? You want to see through the eyes of God, right? Once you see through the eyes of God, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter. It just matters what God is saying to me. So I want to tell you to say, focus on what God has told you.
Yes.
If you did not hear it, then it's time to go back and hear from God. Yes. But He's told you that you're going to be in this place, or this is where you're going to. Hang on. It shall come to pass.
It shall.
Yeah.
It shall.
Amen.
It means it will. Right?
Yes.
It shall. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
God.
What a time. What a time. Again, thank you for joining us here at Heart Ministry Radio Network and the Extraordinary People broadcast featuring Nikki and Tobi Adegoke.
Yeah.
How about that?
Perfect. Working on this thing for a while.
Yes, we got it. And again, go to Tobi Keys Production, Tobi Keys on YouTube, follow them on Facebook. Again, if God is stirring something up in you, contact them. And there will be agreement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You gotta let them know. Absolutely. Praise the Lord.
Glory to God.
Go to heartministryradio.com. Spend some time there. There's so much going on. You see that, right? Praise God. We'll talk to you real soon.